나쁜 부모의 9가지 특징. Science says parents of unsuccessful kids could have these 9 things in common. 좋은 부모가 되는 길은 참 험난하다. 그렇다면 나쁜 부모가 되지 않는 것에서 출발해보면 어떨까? 나쁜 부모가 공통적으로 가진 9가지 특징을 소개한다. Though it can be difficult for studies to determine what parenting techniques are ideal since researchers usually don't follow families long term, there are certain parental behaviors that scientists have found could be linked to problems in children, like depression and anxiety, later in life. Here are 9 things parents do that might be making kids unsuccessful, according to psychology research.
1. 자주 소리를 지른다. They yell at their kids a lot. 소리 지르기, 저주하기, 욕설 등 거친 언어로 아이들을 훈육할 경우 신체적 처벌을 받을 때와 유사한 행동장애와 우울증을 일으키는 것으로 나타났다. A study out of the University of Pittsburgh found evidence that harsh verbal discipline like shouting, cursing, or using insults may be detrimental to kids' well-being in the long term. The 2-year study also found that harsh verbal discipline had comparable negative effects such as behavioral problems and depressive symptoms to studies that focused on physical discipline. It's a tough call for parents because it goes both ways. Problem behaviors from children create the desire to give harsh verbal discipline, but that discipline may push adolescents toward those same problem behaviors.
2. 아이들에게 집착한다. They're helicopter parents. 관심을 넘어서 늘 아이들 주변을 빙빙 돌며 지나치게 아이들을 통제하고 과잉보호하는 것은 도움이 되지 않는다. 이런 부모 밑에서 자란 아이들은 새로운 아이디어를 받아들이는 것에 덜 개방적이고 자의식 과잉 증상을 보인다. While being an involved parent is a good thing, being a helicopter parent, or a parent who is over-controlling, could result in higher levels of anxiety and depression in children. Students who reported having over-controlling parents reported significantly higher levels of depression and less satisfaction with life. It's one in a number of other studies that point to a possible connection between over-controlling parents and depression in college-aged young adults. The researchers found that children with so-called helicopter parents were less open to new ideas, more self-conscious, and happened to use more pain pills recreationally.
3. 취침 시간을 아이들에게 맡긴다. They let their children decide their bedtimes. 영국의 연구진들은 불규칙적인 취침 시간이 아이들의 과잉 행동장애, 품행장애, 정서 불안, 나쁜 교육 관계와 연관이 있다고 밝혔다. Researchers from the UK found a link between irregular bedtimes and worsening behavior scores, which included hyperactivity, conduct problems, peer issues, and emotional difficulties. Plus, irregular bedtimes could affect the developing brain. We know that early child development has profound influences on health and well-being across the life course. It follows that disruptions to sleep, especially if they occur at key times in development, could have important lifelong impacts on health.
4. Nomo Ordered TV 시청을 허락한다. They let them watch television when they're really young. 말을 듣지 않을 경우 TV 시청을 허락하는 조건으로 지시를 따르도록 하는 경우가 많은데, 연구에 따르면 3살 전에 TV를 오래 시청하면 어휘력에 악영향을 주고 집중력 저하 문제를 일으키며 또래 친구들을 더 괴롭힐 수 있다. 교육용 프로그램도 생후 2년 6개월 지난 뒤 시청하는 것이 좋다. Though screen time has been a parental boogeyman for decades, it seems there may be cause for concern. A study indicates that heavy television viewing for kids before 3 years of age affects vocabulary, participation, and made them more likely to bully other classmates when they enter kindergarten. Heavy television usage has also been associated with attention problems as well as impaired reading and math proficiency.
5. 독재적인 양육 형태. They're authoritarian. Developmental psychologist Diana Baumright found in the 1960s that there are basically 3 kinds of parenting styles: permissive, authoritarian, and authoritative. The ideal is authoritative, a parent who tries to direct the child rationally. The worst, authoritarian parents who are demanding and discourage open communication. To put that in a real-world context, authoritarian parents might say, "You need to get straight A's because I said so." It's a strict guideline without any rationale the child can understand. On the other hand, authoritative parents would explain that good grades help kids learn and advance in life. Authoritarian parenting could lead to inhibited performance in school, though the author notes that these findings are not consistent across culture, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status.
6. 아이들 앞에서 스마트폰을 자주 사용한다. They use their cell phones frequently around their kids. 스마트폰 이용 등으로 부모의 돌봄이 산만해질 경우 아이의 정서 장애를 유발할 수 있다. 아이의 뇌 발달을 위해서는 규칙적이고 지속적인 자극이 주어져야 하는데 부모가 스마트폰을 자주 들여다보느라 일관되게 관심을 쏟지 못하기 때문이다. A study showed that distracted parents could negatively affect their children's development. The study was in rats, so we don't know yet if it could apply to humans. At the very least, our technology-induced distractions can't be a great thing. Some emergency room doctors who have seen a rise in child injuries believe our smartphones could be a plausible explanation. And a study posited that smartphone usage poses a real danger to the welfare and development of children.
7. 아이들에게 차갑게 대한다. They're cold or distant towards their children. 부모와 아이가 건강하고 긍정적인 연대감을 형성하는 일은 중요하다. 많은 연구들은 부모가 아이들을 따뜻하게 대하지 않을 때 아이들이 행동장애와 불안정, 정서 장애를 일으켰다는 결과를 내놓고 있다. 특히 칭찬받지 못한 아이들은 사회적 위축과 불안을 경험한다. Though it may seem obvious, there's no replacement for developing a healthy, positive bond with your child. Multiple studies have found low levels of parental warmth can contribute to behavioral problems as well as insecurity and emotional difficulties in children and adolescents. Kids who don't get parental praise may also experience social withdrawal and anxiety.
8. 버릇로 엉덩이를 때리다. They use spanking as a punishment. Spanking's effect on children has been studied since the 80s, and the punishment has consistently been tied to hyperactivity, aggression, and oppositional behavior in children. In a 2000 study, researchers found that first graders with behavioral problems whose parents spanked them were more likely to be disruptive. In 2016, a University of Texas at Austin analysis confirmed that based on 50 years of research on 160,000 children, spanking was associated with mental health problems and cognitive difficulties.
9. They don't encourage their kids to be independent. A study found that parents who psychologically controlled their children created to a host of negative outcomes for kids, including low self-confidence and self-reliance. Encouraging children, especially teens, to be independent can be a good thing, especially in enhancing their ability to resolve conflict and have interpersonal relationships. Additionally, this study found evidence that more independence could lead to an increase in teens' ability to resist peer pressure.